views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Shaping Life. Shaping Life is where we discuss all things health and we connect with the right people and information that sets us on a path towards being our best selves. And I'm your host, Trish Curling. So I'm really excited about my guest today and the topics we're going to be discussing. Today we're going to take a look at the most important ways and what we need to implement in pre and postnatal workouts. And also as busy moms, how to get our workouts in quickly and efficiently. So first, I'd like to introduce my very good friend, my brilliant friend, Alison Marie Helms. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you for having me.
So glad to have you today. So I'm just going to intro and read a little bit about you because I want to do a nice big intro for my dear friend here. So Alison is a strategic fitness coach to busy moms. She's a pre- and postnatal certified personal trainer, a weight loss specialist, and master of efficiency. She helps busy moms crush the overwhelm, quiet the noise, and take control of their health and fitness. She's also a goal-chasing busy mom herself, just like you. So, Alison, I'm so happy to have you here today. Tell us where you're coming to us from live, and tell us a little bit about your fitness journey.
I'm coming to you live from South Carolina. It's weird for me to not have to think about it when I say that because we lived on the road traveling all around for the last 2 years. So the answer to that question was always different, but now it's always the same. So my journey to fitness as a profession was a very indirect one, to say the least. My original background is in chemical and biomolecular engineering. I have a doctorate in chemical and biomolecular engineering, and while I was studying that, I concentrated on immunology, biomaterials, and tissue engineering. But what I loved to do on the side, I got really into fitness during my time in grad school. Ran marathons, started actually like in the gym with weights for the first time in my life, and all those things. And I ended up being like the go guru amongst the grad student population for training plans. So I was dabbling in writing training plans far before I was a personal trainer. I don't necessarily recommend now, but that's the way I came through it. And but what also another passion that came out of that time was teaching. And I know you and I share the background in teaching. I went in from grad school, I went into teaching. I've taught everything from college level all the way down to sixth grade. So that experience has given me a lot of knowledge in how to like distill things down to the simplest form, because going from teaching at the graduate level to teaching sixth graders was a huge jump. And it was really a wonderful experience to really test your knowledge when you are forced to bring it down to a different level. Right. But during that time of teaching, I had my son. And I did take a year off of teaching when he was first born. And during that time, I decided to actually get certified as a personal trainer.
Awesome. Okay.
And then went back to work teaching. And even though I was a personal trainer, it all just fell apart. Like my life was anything but fit because balancing it all was just way too hard. And that's really where what I do now really came out of. It's about not just like getting in the gym and hitting it hard, or it's about being like strategic with whatever time you do have
Right.
towards reaching whatever fitness goals you're working on.
That's so amazing, and I think we're going to get into all of the the science a little bit about how you approach the way to get everything in effectively. And I mean, you're saying you had your son, and is that really where that kind of what you're doing now, where that came from? Because you're so passionate about working with moms, and is that why you chose that direction?
Yes, totally. Like I've always loved fitness. It's always been something that I enjoyed doing and I enjoyed talking about. But when I hit that wall myself
Mm-hmm.
and realized like there are not a lot of resources available for making it work with this new life.
Right.
Motherhood does not come with a like instruction manual. Your whole
Exactly.
life changes, your body changes, and I really wanted to educating women about how and empowering them to still feel like they have some sort of control. I don't know if I really love the word control there because
Mm-hmm.
that's just not a thing. But some sort of control over their life.
Yes, yes. And you developed this strong mom manifesto. If we can look at that for a second, because this is really, I think, really kind of dials it in for everything that you're really passionate about. We're going to pull that up. It says, I'm a strong mom. I'm living my life, not just surviving it. So, I mean, people can take a look at that as they go through the show, and we can find that on your Facebook page, also your Instagram. But tell us about the Strong Mom Manifesto and why you created it.
I create to give and to empower moms really to say that like I can be a great mom
Mm-hmm.
and take care of myself at the same time, and I'm not going to make excuses for doing that.
I love
I'm I'm
that.
I'm going to do it, and I recognize that to do that, I need to be really strategic, cutting out all the BS, reining it in, and getting down to the simplest form of what actually. First, it's like throwing that idea of, I'm just a mom now. This is the way my life is supposed to be out the window.
Right.
Um, and, and working with, the new life you have, but to really be living instead of surviving. And I think, moms end up in this survival mode for so long, and it can be so discouraging. And it doesn't really have to be that way. Mom life is hard. Yes, we are busy, we are tired, but we can be truly living, not just surviving.
Absolutely. And I think there's so much guilt too that, gets built in as
Yes.
soon as we think, oh my gosh, I don't have time. My time should be spent on, doing X, Y, Z for my baby or for my child. And, how can I take time away and go for a run or go to the gym? Like that's time away from my kid. So I think it's
Right.
really
And
important
then
that you
when you,
really, yeah, go
I was gonna
ahead.
say, yeah, when you already feel like you're not doing enough,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. And it just
Yeah,
never ends. And if you think, well, if we turn that around and give to ourselves, of course we have more to give to our children and our families.
right.
So
As
in the next
cliche as it
segment,
sounds, it's totally true.
in the next segment, I want to talk more about some of the things that we face as busy moms because they are real. And you talk about that. You say, they're not just excuses. They are real things. And, I love the way how you spin it around to help people to still achieve their goals. So we're going to come back to that on Shaping Life.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
That foot glides back behind, knee tracks over your foot. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Now these are getting our quad.
So I love that little just short snippet, that one, something that you have there. I think, oh, Allison's left us. Oh, there she is.
I'm here.
I love that little, just like a brief example of an exercise that you say is, just really efficient. You have all of that stuff on your Instagram, which is great. And you mentioned it a little bit in the last segment, but one of the things you said, and I love that you say all the time, is reining it in. So what does that mean for you, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so I do say that a lot. And because it's so important, there is no shortage of information or ideas out there when it comes to health and fitness. There's always a new fad. There's always another program coming out. There's always a new challenge. There's what your sister, your friend, like your neighbor, that girl you follow on Instagram is doing. Like, there's certainly no shortage of like free workouts to try. But like at some point, none of that is helping. All it is doing is contributing to the noise. And you get stuck in your head, I should do this. And you're thinking and you're planning and constantly just doing everything but actually doing.
Right.
So when I say rein it in, I mean, stop looking at all of that. And I almost kind of cringe when I do post example workouts on Instagram, because in some ways through the noise, but I try to do it in a way that's like, yes, this is an example, but you have to fit it into a system that works and is designed for your goals, your life, and ultimately your schedule. That's really, really important. Like, because moms are busy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, that you have to put it into a framework. It's not just these random things that you want to pick up. You really do have to have a system. What are the common things or issues that you hear coming up from your clients or people that are interested in working with you?
Of course, the biggest two, three. So the biggest two would be busy, like lack of time, and like energy, exhaustion and lack of motivation. The third piece would be that like really understanding. I think there's a lot of fear surrounded about what happens in our cores during pregnancy and coming back and rebuilding that and knowing the right way, which is funny because I feel like 6 years ago when I had my son, like nobody was talking.
Right.
And now everybody's talking about it and everyone's like afraid of it.
Exactly.
And there's like, so that's a concern for sure. But I think the first two, time and energy, like if we don't address those two things first, it doesn't matter what the conversation we have about any of the workouts or best like core training and all that kind of thing.
Very true. And I mean, that's so right. Like we were saying, it's not an excuse. It's real. I remember when I had my daughter, I mean, I was exhausted. You're up nights, the baby's crying, nap times are off, schedules change and all these things are happening. And at the same time, you're still trying to take care of yourself. So, how do you get your clients to turn these ideas around, or how to, change the perspective on that?
Well, it starts by attempting to quiet all that and getting rid of like, this idea of like what self-care is supposed to look like, all the things you should be doing, the things that you did before in your previous life fitness-wise. Actually, I feel like this whole transition harder in some ways for women who had a routine down in a different season of their life before having kids, because they think that they still have to do all of those things to be quote unquote fit or to lose the baby weight or whatever. But what you really need to do is lead from a place of like, what do I actually have time to do? And what do I actually want to do?
Yes.
Because for me, it was, I would go to the gym. I had in my head that I had to go to the gym for at least an hour for it. And that when I was working full time and had an home, that didn't work. And so instead of doing a little bit of something, I was doing nothing and feeling defeat time. But when I had like a light bulb moment in the shower one day, and that's where the living room workout club came from. Like, it doesn't have to be this big. What do I really have time to do? And at that point in my life, I decided I could commit 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week from. Didn't need to go to the gym because that was time traveling back and I'm away from my son. My son could hang out with me while I was doing my workouts. And that's where everything changed for me. And I think it's different for everybody. And you need to really go through that exercise of, what do I know that I can commit to so that I can do it consistently? So I can create this momentum, which really is what motivation is. I don't care what you think motivation is. Most fit pros will tell you that it's having discipline. Discipline for me is tied in with this idea of willpower. And when you are tired, willpower is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have it. It has to come from a place of breaking it down really small and creating momentum and building from there. Throwing what you think you should do out the window and starting with what you know you actually really do have time to do.
And I feel like let's bang on, Alison. I mean, the consistency, as we know, when you're trying to achieve any goal, is really what's going to take you there, whether it be fitness or anything else. And, you also build that confidence, right? I mean, when you think that, okay, I know that I can actually tackle this 10 or 15 minutes, and then you do it, that just builds more confidence for the next time. Like, I actually did it. I, gave time to myself. I completed the task. I can do it again. So I think you're so right about those short pieces, because it's such an all or nothing attitude that we have sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like when you're bang on about that confidence, because when you have that confidence, when you start building that momentum, it starts to give you this energy, and you can put it towards so many other things in your life. And that's where you start to feel like, oh, like I'm living again.
Exactly.
It's not about weight loss. It's not about like get your, pre-baby body back or trimming down the midsection. All those things will happen with the consistency. But when you do that, the real results that happen in the rest of your life are so much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as you said too, it's not just all about getting it done. I mean, there are some really important things that we're going to talk about in the next segment in terms of how to actually do it. We talked about, you mentioned core and what that really is. And I'm going to ask you about that in the next segment, because as, even before, so pre-baby, that becomes an important issue, but especially postnatally, we really want to think about, how we're actually competing these workouts. Not just, like you said earlier, just going to the gym and, killing it and getting it done. There's a really strategic way to make sure that we are retraining our bodies. So I can't wait to dive in with you with that when we come back.
All right.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Welcome back to Shaping Life. So let's talk about the term core. What does that mean to you, Alison?
So yeah, it's kind of a, I don't know, pet peeve is not necessarily the right word, but everyone wants to talk about abs. And really, when the six-pack abs or whatever, those are superficial muscles. Your rectus abdominis, they're like in the back of my mind. When I'm talking about core, I'm talking about the whole canister between your diaphragm, all around your transverse abdominis, your internal, external obliques, your back muscles, and then down to your pelvic floor. That whole part of your body works as a system its job is, among other things, to stabilize your trunk, the middle of your body, during movement. So when we talk about training our core, we want to train it to do its function, to stabilize our body during movement. And that's so important to talk about for everybody, like you said. But then with pregnant and postpartum women, you put a baby in the middle of the things that are supposed to be doing the things. And
as really you have now, you're pregnant now.
He's hanging out right in the middle of it all. So yeah, and one thing that's interesting about it too is there are considerations during pregnancy, but it's actually, you have to be even more cared after, because one of the things the core does to build ability is to regulate pressure. And it's in some ways easier to regulate that pressure when you have the baby in there taking up space. It's helping to build that pressure. When it comes out, all bets are off. You need to really retrain that part of your body.
I think that's really important. Like you said, now this is such a big conversation and it's happening so much. 21 years ago, I just aged myself. When I had my daughter, this was not a conversation, and it's so important to know and to learn about our bodies in this way. I remember the first time, because if we could just actually talk about the dysfunctions that happen sometimes a little bit as well. The first time, and I'm going to embarrass myself here, but here we go. It's a real thing, and it happens to so many of us. But I was at a fitness training. I was training for body combat, and I remember I was, in the middle and feeling good, and doing my kicks and punches, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Did I just pee myself?" I was like, "What the hell?" And it was so embarrassing, But so many women face that, and so you're talking about the whole system working together. Can you talk about that a little bit as well for us?
Sure, yeah. And, I'm right there with you, peeing myself. It's something that is real, and it's something that we can laugh for sure. But it's also something that I think so many moms and women think, oh, it's normal. I'm just something I'm going to have to live with it. But that's not necessarily true.
Absolutely not.
You can retrain with intention of your body. Sorry, I missed in all of that. I was too excited to tell you that I pee my pants too.
That's okay. So see, at least we can laugh about it. But the good thing is, coming out of the other side is arming ourselves with this information so we know not to, because now I am much more in control of that.
Yeah, same. I think the question is where do you start with?
Yeah, let's talk about what's important to know. What should we be doing then in order to retrain that system?
Right. So the very first thing is by acknowledging that system works with your breath.
Right.
So before you even talk about doing specific core exercises, you need to start thinking about retraining your. So when you breathe in, and I've had a habit of watching people breathe lately because of this. Most people, I tell people to take a deep breath. What I see them do is
yes, the shoulders go up.
Filling the chest and the shoulders and all that kind of thing. The way the diaphragm works with the core and the pelvic floor is when you breathe in, The diaphragm contracts down to fill the lungs. The pelvic floor is supposed to contract down with it as well. And then when you exhale, they're both supposed to come up and your core engages. That is the function of the core with breathing. So if you think about that and start practicing the breathing, deep breathing, true deep breathing is in your belly, your sides, your back.
Right.
So I encourage people their hands on their waist here and feel expand that 360 degrees around.
Right.
And down in your diaphragm, down in your pelvic floor. So that during movement, strenuous exercise, you can use the power exhale where the pelvic floor engages and the core engages to really stabilize and get the power from your movement. And learning to coordinate that is something that is so necessary for pregnant and postpartum women. But also when you think about like most people who have never had a baby also don't know how to, they just don't have the dysfunctions to the extreme that we have. So they don't even, it's like, I don't even think about it. But when it comes down to getting the most out of and being as efficient and as effective as possible, everybody really should learn to use their core appropriately in that way.
One of the greatest things I learned from a course I did with Bellies Inc. was great way for that. Then they described it was, this proper way of doing Kegels, like exactly what you're talking about, that relaxation of the pelvic floor on the in-breath, and then, pulling up a blueberry, imagine, you know what I mean? With your vagina. So like pulling it up just gently on that exhale. Right. And then letting it drop again. And that's been a game changer, I mean, to think I can sneeze now and not pee is exciting.
I'm glad that you brought that up because everyone's heard of a Kegel.
Right.
But a lot of the advice is given is just do your Kegel, but then just engaging.
Right.
More than half of the women who have incontinence issues have it because their pelvic floor is too tight.
Exactly.
For a muscle to be strong, you have to think about to be able to use your bicep, you actually have to be able to extend it and then pull it up. Your pelvic floor works the exact same way. Your core works the exact same way. You can't be like clenching and holding it in all the time and expect it to do its job.
Exactly.
And full disclosure, that's me.
Yeah.
I am a clencher.
Me too.
All the time. And you'll notice, now I have awareness of it. I clench my jaw, and I'm like, that's in my pelvic floor.
Exactly.
You're both. So learning to relax and breathe and understanding that for a muscle to lengthen, it needs to lengthen too, and connecting it with your breath is incredibly powerful there.
Absolutely. So we start with the breath, and then how do we incorporate this core breath in with our movement, with our exercise?
Sure, yeah. So in some ways with the core exercises, we need to learn, they help us learn how to brace while we're breathing. So once you get that breathing down, we need, when we're moving and breathing at the time, we're not going to hold our breath and hold the clench for the movement. So learning first how to breathe while your abs are engaged. And one way I think about engaging your core is not pulling your belly button in. That actually creates a cinch point, and that exacerbates that lower belly pooch that some of us have. And because I was a clencher, I had that. But you want to almost pull it in like a course. Imagine your ribs coming in and your hip in to meet each other. That's what you want to be thinking of when you're engaging your core during your movement. And then connecting your breath with every exercise you do can be a core exercise in this way, that you time your breath with the effort. So in a squat, for example,
Right.
as you lower down, you'll inhale, and then on the effort, exhale. So your
Right.
core is working to stabilize your movement during the exercise. So it starts with learning the breath. And then once we've done that, understanding that it doesn't happen in real life, it doesn't happen in isolation. It happens with movement, and learning to connect it with your movement. And for some people, being really aware of your pelvic floor, doing pelvic floor contractions intentionally with that movement, but not everybody, because
Right.
like I said, more than half of people have, it's too tight. So
Yes.
knowing, which camp you fall in there is really, really important. And I think that's where a good pelvic floor physical therapist comes in.
Perfect. Took the words right out of my mouth, because you've been seeing a pelvic floor physio. So tell us about that and how that all fits into the equation.
Okay, so it's kind of embarrassing to admit, because I've been a I've been a certified trainer for a little over 6 years, and then pre-postnatal certified for a little over 3 years. And up until this past May, I would still pee my pants sometimes when I was running.
Yeah.
And I didn't do, I thought I knew the things. I did the pre-postnatal course. And I was doing the pelvic floor contractions and the breathing and the whatever, but I didn't know that I need to really learn how to relax my pelvic floor and my body in general. If you ask any massage therapist I've ever had, she probably could have told you that because they're like, relax. I'm like, I don't know what that
and
is.
You're like, I am relaxed.
Yeah, exactly. So that was really eye-opening for me, that it, because it's with a muscle but I need to learn that for me about my pelvic floor. And they're just so wonderful about helping to diagnose you and get you on the right track. And I still see, even though I have that issue under control, I'm still embarrassed it took me so long, because really it's in a matter of a couple of months. But I'm still seeing them, because what a good physical therapist does is they identify your weaknesses in your body. And that's another thing about your glutes are very tied to your pelvic floor. So that's another thing that I didn't really realize or build my program intentionally around. Now I'm focusing a lot more on glute training.
Right.
You see the people who are training for your peach bottom or whatever on social media, and then for me it's never been about aesthetics. It's always been about function and strength and challenging my body, and coming from a background of as a runner.
Right.
I love strength training now, but running has always been my passion, and it's like, I'm a runner. I don't care. I'm never gonna have nice glutes. Now realizing that whole part of your body functions together.
Yes.
And learning all the pieces, it's been really life-changing.
That's incredible.
For me.
Yeah. What a process. And like you said, it happened, in just a matter of months of just getting that awareness and reaching out again to the right people, right? It's never just, I can just read a book or I can just follow something on YouTube. It's really putting all the pieces together.
Right.
So your approach is a really scientific one, as we mentioned, and I want to talk about that more in the next segment. So we'll see you soon on Shaping Life.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
So, you only have 15 minutes to squeeze in a workout. It's not even worth doing at that point, right? Wrong. You can get an amazing workout, effective workout in just 15 minutes or even 10 minutes if that's all the time you have by applying the efficient workout formula I'm going to give you right now. First, I'm going to overview how it works, and then I'm going to show you an example of how I would implement it. So this works by choosing just 3 exercises. I like 3 because then it's easy to remember. Just going from one to the other, pick 3. 1 upper body, 1 lower body, and 1 either cardio or heart rate builder or core specific. I like core specific here because us moms need it. Rebuilding that core stability is a big part of, or should be a big part of our workouts. And also the way we put together these exercises in the sufficient formula will get you the cardio anyway. So this is kind of a triple threat. We're getting strength. We're going to be doing it in intervals. So we're doing that high intensity type exercise.
So you have great content like that, as I mentioned before, Alison, on your Instagram and on your other social media platforms. But, talk to us about that efficient plan. Like, how did you develop that?
It's really it was my go-to way back when I first started this idea. Like, I only have 15 minutes. First started doing these like high intensity circuits because that is the most efficient way to work out, whatever. Mm-hmm. It ended up being like a lot of jumping around and just sweating, and I didn't necessarily feel like it was intentionally designed.
Right.
So one of the big important things is strength training. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to make sure that even in these high intensity workouts, we're getting intentional strength building in. That's so important just for the overall function of your body. Like, mm-hmm. you need to be strong. And that's another piece, going back to the pelvic floor and core, like mm-hmm. a lot of the dysfunctions that happen there is because, if you're not strong enough and you go to lift the baby or you go to lift the thing, right. And you don't have the physical strength, what you're going to do is you're going to bear down on your pelvis and you're going to make things worse.
Right.
So building that strength is so, so important, and doing it intentionally, but not just like these jumping around high intensity workouts. But I mean, there's benefit to that because it gets your heart rate going.
Sure.
When you get into that like high intensity zone, get then an afterburn effect, and you're not necessarily just trading like calories burned in the workout to, for time you have. So I wanted to figure out a way, like, how can I do both in mm-hmm. really intentional strength training and still get that, short on time, high intensity. And one of the things we learn as trainers is this idea of peripheral heart action. And so when your body goes from sending blood to one muscle group to their like upper body, lower body, your heart starts to work harder as well. It kind of doubles as cardio. So I'm going to put it all together and then made it as simple as possible. One upper body, one core, go through it with whatever time you have.
Perfect.
Because then, and there's no excuses. I've had clients that like bang these out in the parking lot next to their car, like waiting for their kids in taekwondo.
Right.
Like, there is something to be said for doing exercises with, resistance resistance or resistance bands or those kinds of things. But that comes after you build this foundation of consistency. And this is so valuable for that, because you really get an efficient workout while you are doing that. No excuses. I'm working with whatever time I have.
Yes.
Kind of mentality.
Love it. And so let's move a little bit just briefly into nutrition, because it's not just about moving, right? It's, you have this great tool for nutrition on your website. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, right. It's not just about moving. And if you're moving like crazy and you're not fueling your body properly, you're going to crash and hit a wall, and you're not going to be able to do what you want to be able to do, both in life and both in your workouts. But I find when people go towards eating healthy, make it perfect, and Pinterest, go to Pinterest and pin all of these like healthy meals, and they make it on Monday, and only half the family, and they don't like it, and it's frustrating. And Tuesday we're like, all right, well, I'm going to try one. Same thing happens. Wednesday it's like, forget it, just leftovers. And by Thursday or Friday, like, you're ordering pizza or everyone's having cereal for dinner.
Exactly.
Like, so what we need to do is actually simplify the whole thing. And that's where the cheat sheet comes in. It's understanding that, going from the basic building blocks of like what our body needs. We need protein.
Right.
For, keep us full and satisfied, for building up those muscles, which are so important. We need carbs, even though everyone's afraid of them. We need them. They are our energy source. We need fat it's what makes up our cells, helps regulate our hormones. And then we need like vegetables for fiber, our nutrients, like vitamins and minerals. So what the cheat sheet does is show you how you can just simple formula for just putting together meals using these blocks in appropriate portions, making sure that you're fueling your body, getting enough food without really having to think about it. So I encourage all my clients at first, I give them the cheat sheet, print it out, go to your kitchen, and with whatever you have on hand, I don't care if it's like a handful of deli meat, like a stick, and some crackers, like protein, fat, carbs. Put it together. Start practice using the formula. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. If it takes more than 5 minutes, you're overcomplicating it.
Right.
And you have to do this anyway. You have to feed yourself. You have to feed your family. So internalizing this super simple formula is super empowering. You start to do it without even thinking.
Exactly.
I have clients that still have it on their refrigerator that I worked with years ago, because it's just that reminder of it is really that simple. What's my protein? What's my carb? What's my fat? Throw in some veggies, done.
Love it.
And
perfect.
My 6-year-old can do it now. That's how he asks me what's for dinner. He doesn't say what's for dinner. He said, what do we have? What's our carb for dinner? What's our protein? What's our vegetable?
So good. That's so great. And even that too, building in the family to do everything with you just becomes, that much more, allows it to be that much more easy to get things done, right? So you have these great tools that you actually offer even before clients start working with you. Like, for example, you have this masterclass that you've created. Can you talk about that?
The masterclass really walks you through my system of putting together your quote unquote perfect workout week, leading with what you have time for, and then going through and strategically building a plan that prioritizes the best workouts to make use of that time. And then we get nerdy and dive into how to put those workouts together using all of the patterns, so you can have, and your core, so that your whole is working together functionally. Because it's not just about aesthetics and weight loss. It's about being functionally fit and able to take on really any challenge that you want.
I love that. And it's such a key mindset then too that your clients have to come to you with, right? It's not about again, the 6-week bikini body. It's, how can I really master my body? So I love that.
Yes, it is. No more hacking, no more like this challenge or that program or that program. It's like, okay, let's throw that out and build a foundation, a structure, a strategy, a system for you, your body, your goals, and your life. So that, once we're done doing this, it's something you do without really having to think about it. You can turn on a dime on a week that, everything's just going crazy, switch it up and feel empowered to do so. Every season of your life.
And that's great. It's really an education. So how long is the program?
Yes.
Tell us how long the program is and a little bit about
The
it.
Fitness Mastery Program, the master class is just an hour free thing.
Awesome.
The Fitness Mastery Program, which is
Right.
like where we actually get down and do that thing together.
Right.
Is 12 weeks long. And it's not just the plan, it's, the coaching through the
Yes.
process so that you can master it, feedback, strategizing, re-strategizing, and education. Yeah. So I've come full circle back to
Right.
education in a very different way. But on something that is so important and so much more. I shouldn't say this because every student I ever taught in like chemistry will roll their eyes, but like so much more important to your life.
Yes.
And living your life than like teaching chemistry and I'm still a nerd and I love doing it and I still tutor chemistry for fun on the side. But
Ooh, for fun.
well, you ask my husband, I'm like, get off. I'm like, oh, that was fun. I like that. He's like, really? You're such a dork.
I love it. So we can see there we just put up some amazing testimonials, and there's so many more on your website as well. But people who have gone through this program with you and done such a great job. And now I'm sure, as you talked about the program and that education that it provides, them being armed now to be able to do this, and feel confident to do it on their own as well.
Ashley, who's here on one of the testimonials you have up.
Yeah.
I interviewed her. This was a testimony from, I can't say testimonial right now, from when she first finished the program. She was only about like 10 months postpartum when she finished it. A year later, I reconnected with her and interviewed her again about her experience. And one of the things she said is like, it's just a part of my life now. It's what I do. And like, that was like, yes, that's what it's supposed to be.
Oh man, we've had, we do this all the time, and you and I can go on forever, but
Yeah.
Can you summarize, maybe just, give us 3 things for busy moms? What are your 3 takeaways for today?
The first thing would be to throw everything you feel like you should do or you're supposed to be doing out the window and lead with what you actually have time to do, because it's not about like intensity. It's not about doing the perfect thing. We can fill in the details about the most efficient way to do it and use your time after. But the thing that is the most important is consistency and establishing that momentum and making it a habit, because habits become literal no-brainers, because one more thing you don't have to think about in the day. And I don't know any mom that doesn't need like off their plate
Exactly.
in terms of like thinking about it, because really like decision-making fatigue, that means that it's a real thing. And it means that thinking about what you're going to do, when you're going to do, and like if you're going to do your workout is making you more tired.
Yeah, totally.
So you can figure out, like, get down to the simplest form of what you need to do and just do it. Have more energy, I guarantee you. So that's the first one. The second thing, learn to breathe and connect with your core. And then the third would be, there's no one size fits all like program. That's partly why piecemealing workouts you find on the internet, or like doing a cookie cutter program a DVD or whatever you might, isn't giving you the results that you want long term, because it's not designed for you, your body, and your goals. We all have unique features about our body that need to be trained in a way that we move efficiently, effectively to really most out of everything that we do. So really, reaching out to an expert or starting with a pelvic floor therapist to make that what you're doing designed for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Those are all key. I love the stance that you take, the holistic approach. So, Alison, I thank you so much for your expertise today. I mean, there's so many jewels in this episode, so I hope people are really able to take it in. And thank you for joining us.